Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David, and this is Ella, or Elle, excuse me, our new kitty. She has been dying for some attention, and so she jumped up. Well, I picked her up on the table. She can't quite jump up yet, but she's going to join me for a little bit before I kick her off because she has got ants in the pants, and she's into everything. Okay, so Marjorie Taylor Greene decided that. Oh, you went down. Okay, here you go. Boink. Marjorie Taylor Greene was unsuccessful in her attempt to kick out Mike Johnson. So on Tuesday, she brought forward that motion, and it crashed and burned with the Democrats helping, which pretty reasonably follows what Gary and I were seeing over the weekend. She's threatened that she's probably going to do it again, because if there's one thing Marjorie Taylor Greene is persistent, as Hunter Biden. But she's not strategic, and her efforts didn't advance anything. And to the point where they had a vote, basically the Democrats joined in to table the motion. Her motion lost 359 to 43. So it got tabled. I think 10 Republicans, and I'm going to guess roughly 30 Democrats voted to have him removed. And the rest just said, you know what, we've got enough things to deal with, and this is just complete garbage. Now, what was really cool I read about this is the Democrats, for their votes, asked one thing of the Republicans, and that was to further isolate the Putin faction of the GOP in the House. This is something Bo, the fifth column, has been talking about for months, that McCarthy had the opportunity to do that and didn't do it, and Johnson's had the opportunity to do that. Whether or not the Republicans choose to do that, we'll see. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene refers to as the uniparty. Basically, House members that support democracy as opposed to an authoritarian government. And we have roughly a lot of Republicans. It's about a 50-50 split. But the way this vote went for Johnson, it was only 10 members out of 11 members out of 435. So, that's not very much. 1 in 40, 2% are diehard Putiners. So, let's take a look at the energy around Marjorie Taylor Greene with this latest loss. Does she even care? Is she humiliated? Is she defiant? Probably the latter. Can you imagine being her kid? Oh, God. Yeah. We've all had our complaints about our mothers. Can you imagine? Entertainment purposes only. What's the energy around Marjorie Taylor Greene post... the cat's running around in here. Post defeat here. Oh, her star is reversed, but my deck is upside down. Here's Marjorie the star, but she's a falling star. She knew she could get Johnson removed, and she got exactly 10 of her colleagues to join her, and some Democrats. Not exactly a banner moment for her. Crossed with the King of Wands, I'm going to have this card be like Mike Johnson here. She tried her best against Mike Johnson. Her best was feeble. As Nancy Pelosi said, at least the Democrats could count. But she was never, if she could get him out, she wanted him out. But this is about, trying to force and bully the Republicans into getting rid of Johnson for fear of what the MAGA folks might do. The ironic thing is that Donald Trump even went on there and said that he didn't want this initiative to pass, or he glad it failed, or something along those lines. So you don't even have the backing of dear leader, so why bother doing it? But underneath is Ace of Wands. This is just her with her club. Life is a game of whack-a-mole to her, and she likes being the person with the club. And the moles are going to be the Republicans the uniparty that she wants to hit on the head repeatedly. It's just a power play on her part, and it failed miserably. But she doesn't have the intellectual horsepower to understand how humiliating this is. That's kind of why she's an orc, just a simple orc. In the past is the death card. This thing didn't stand a chance of getting through. She didn't have the backing of the Republican Party. And she didn't have, and the Democrats are willing to help Johnson too, because they'll say they want a turmoil, but this is the Democrats' way of trying to preserve democracy right now, is looking like the adults in the room. This thing had no chance. She went forward with it. It had no chance. She went anyways. Current situation is the Eight of Cups, the walking away. By doing this, she's diminished her own power. Her emotional thing, her goal here, that she was going to, force this thing through. She was going to smash that square peg into that round hole, so to speak. And it didn't work. And I think a lot of people in the GOP emotionally aren't as intimidated by her anymore because she shows she doesn't have power. She screwed herself on this. The two cats are now touching noses, sniffing over here. She's playing with her toy. The overarching energy is the Tower. Yeah, this motion that her star is falling, and this maneuver of hers crashed and burned really quickly. Okay, we're back. Sorry, had to do a little cat maintenance there. So Tower moment. This thing didn't work, and it failed spectacularly. Death card, Tower cards, falling star. And this is supposed to be, the calm after the storm, which is what we're in now, but falling star. Lesson to be learned is the heartbreak and the betrayal. She's talking about the uniparty, which means she's throwing under the bus most of the Republicans at this point. At least half, if not more. And I'm sure she feels like the Republican voters need better, or the MAGA voters need better than what we've got. But she's just a traitor to the country. Let's call it what it is. The outcome is the Four of Wands. In some ways they're kind of laughing at her. She's a laughing stock at this point. It's like she's the type of person that walked into the glass door and everybody's now laughing at her because she didn't get hurt. She's just humiliated. And they're laughing at her not seeing the glass door that was there. And I don't think she's not going to be invited back. She already got kicked out of the Freedom Caucus. She's alienating the normal conservatives. Who's left? She's got no friends and allies. There's only, her group of friends is down to 10. The 10 people that voted to remove Mike Johnson. And that might be overstating how many would want to be friends with her. Yeah, she's lost power. She's lost influence. I was looking at the primaries. Luke Farmer, I guess, was going to primary her, and he dropped out. So she wins the primary over there, and she'd be running against a Democrat. But there's 4 Democrats running. Their primary's happening in the next. The Democrats' primary is happening in the next week or 2. So I'd read on that, but let's wait until we find out who our Democrat, who the most likely Democrat is, and then we can look at it at that point. Although we can look at her constituency and see kind of how they're feeling about her right now. So that's what's going on with her. How are the Republicans viewing? How are the Republicans viewing her in her own party in the House? I know the Senate's fed up and done with the MAGAs, but how are the Republicans sort of looking at her? It's just so funny. The uniparty. Yeah, we call them folks that believe in democracy. How's their own party? Freaking idiot. You're an idiot. You're the type of person who would walk right off the cliff and you'd blame the cliff for it. Yep, and she doesn't know what she's doing. She's a fool, and she doesn't know what she's doing. Go crawl back into whatever troll cave you crept out of. And there's going to be momentum with her. I think she's going to keep going. But this is just they know she's like the Energizer Bunny. She's just going to keep doing crazy stuff until she's not there anymore. But I also think they don't need to take her seriously. Her threat is diminished. Wait, 4 major arcana. In the past, you got the moon card. It's like you didn't cross her. You didn't know what she had. And in some ways, that she blew it because now they know where she stands. They know exactly how much backing she has. She was much better off being a mystery and keeping them off their toes or on their toes, not knowing how much support she did or did not have. Plus, she's just bat effing shit crazy, man. She's crazy. She's an idiot. She'll just go back to her troll cave, and she's never going to stop because that's who she is. That's her brand. Current situation, 8 of Cups. Again, just like in the other reading, they're walking away from her. They're not scared of her anymore. She's revealed her support. She's revealed her craziness. And they don't want any of it. They want nothing to do with it. The overarching energy is the 7 of Coins. They're reevaluating the value that she brings to the party. Now, again, they've only got a 1-vote majority, so they're not going to kick her out anytime soon. But they don't really need to fear her. She's in a very protected red district, and she does a lot of fundraising. You can imagine how much self-enrichment comes from that fundraising. It'd be funny if they decided that they wanted to do an ethics probe into her for campaign finance fraud, because I bet you they'd find an absolute treasure trove in there. Lesson to be learned is the Queen of Swords. Marjorie Taylor Greene's a fool. She's not a Nancy Pelosi. She's just an idiot. She doesn't get it. She just doesn't get it. To her, it's the low energy of the Queen of Swords. It's my way or the highway. Do what I tell you to, or else I'm going to poke you with my sword. It's not where she should be is, I want things done my way, but realistically, I can't get what I want at this time. She should have backed off. The outcome is the 6 of Swords. Yeah, she's going to be increasingly isolated. She's basically put herself on a boat out to an island. And folks are going to distance themselves from her because they don't need all the turmoil in their life. Because she's just a perpetual turmoil machine. She's the definition of tumultuous. And there's no value in it. And I love that for her, as the phrase goes. Because that's what she deserves. This is what she brings to the table. She brings a lot of drama, immaturity, lack of any type of intellectual horsepower. There's no common sense there. There's no great hidden wisdom to her. She's just impetuous. Cannot find enough adjectives for this person. Belle's attacking her little crinkle toy. She just jumped on it. Kittens are funny. I imagine they're not so funny when you're trying to go to bed, which is why you have to lock them out of the room. Okay. Now that we've kind of got how the Republicans are viewing her, how's her constituency viewing her? How are the Republicans? I mean, it's not like they get a choice. I mean, they're going to have to vote for her in the primary, but it's the primary turnout. That's not the only person they're voting for, right? There's other people to vote for, but I'm kind of curious how this impacts the voting come election time. But let's gauge how her district is looking at her right now, energy wise. Hierophant. Okay, she's the government. She's their representative. And she's a little Hitler. She's a little dictator as far as that goes. Yeah, just the tiny... Look at all these major arcana that she pulls out here, too. Underneath is the Queen of Pentacles. I think I will read this at a high energy that she still represents their values. Now, to me, she would represent not knowing the worth. Wasting valuable money, wasting valuable energy on something that's not worth it. But that's how I would read it. That's not necessarily how they read it on her. Especially given these two cards. In the past, they've looked at her as like the tell it like it is person, which is, all these kitty tickle tickle tickle. In the past, the thing that the Republicans loved about Donald Trump, none of you are listening to me because you're too busy watching the cat. I know. Yep, there's now you can listen to me. The cat's hiding behind my big belly. The Republicans always say what they liked about Donald Trump is that Trump told it like it is. No, he didn't. He lies through his teeth. He tells you what you want to hear. And she's kind of the same way. She's a bully for the sake of being a bully, but they want to fool themselves into thinking she tells it like it is. I'll move my arm so you can see the cat. I accommodate you as best I can. I know it's good for my ratings. Current situation, though, is the Eight of Swords. Ooh, the tide is turning. They're kind of stuck with her now. How interesting. Because the other candidate dropped out. There's no viable candidate to run against her. If they had a viable candidate to run against her, there might have been a change in there. She had the money. She's got the name recognition. She's the incumbent. But a solid candidate, kind of like what they're doing to Matt Gaetz, if they had some Navy pilot who's a Republican for X number of years and stuff like that, he probably would have done really well. No, nothing like a vet. A veteran, that is. Overarching energy is the Four of Swords. They're cooling on her. They are cooling on her, and I'm thinking they may not turn out in the numbers that she needs in November. That's kind of where this is going. We're stuck with her, and they might be rethinking. This could be like, 3 will still go out to vote, but one's thinking they may not go out and vote, so they may not get the turnout, the 90% turnout they normally get. They may only get 75% turnout, and that could be enough to change that election. That kind of vibe. Energy. Kind of like kitten energy, right? The lesson to be learned is the 10 of Cups. One of the things the Democrats might say during this election, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Does she represent your values, your family values? Does this woman represent who we in this district in Georgia are? And that could resonate with people. And even the folks over here saying, does she represent us? Or is she representing herself? And maybe some information comes out that causes a pause in her support. The outcome is the Five of Cups, disappointment. They're not happy with her. She doesn't do anything. And I think that's where this comes in. What has she done for this district? How has she made your life better? And the answer is, they don't have an answer. Yeah, she's a firebrand. And yeah, she supported Donald Trump. But that's where it ends. The Democrats have... The attack ads write themselves for the Democrats. And honest to God, if she had a solid Republican opponent... And I don't know who this guy Farmer was, or I'm assuming he dropped out because he didn't have the money. That's kind of my initial read on that. But if they had a solid candidate, he would have beat her. He would have beat her in the primaries. Because she's crazy. And they're tired of it. Now, not all of them are tired of it. There's going to be some that are like, yeah, Marge is in charge and that's our girl. Go get him and tell him like it is. Own the libs type thing. But she doesn't own the libs. She never owns the libs. Ever. She's just not smart enough. Okay. So She's vulnerable. Believe it or not, I wouldn't have thought that. I think when I've thrown before, I didn't think she was vulnerable. Her recent actions, her freedom of will, her free will, her actions have weakened her position with her electorate in Georgia. That's what at least the cards are showing right now. They are causing people to pause. Now, we've got a whole summer to go through. We've got half of May, June, July, August, September, and October. We've got 5.5 months, as I show you 6 fingers. We've got 5.5 months here. It's almost 6 months of news that can break. Target letters that could be revealed, that sort of thing. And, that information coming out could be extremely damaging to her. She was the one that got really upset when the feds subpoenaed their phone records. She's the one that asked for a pardon from Trump, and she had been sworn into office on January 3rd, and you're asking for a pardon before January 20th? What did you do? From November through January, through the 3 weeks in January, that would require you to ask a pardon to bail your butt out of. I don't think that's normal, because it's not. All right, we'll leave it here. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your likes, shares, comments, everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so my video makes it out to a wider audience. To folks discovering this channel recently or for the first time, welcome to the channel. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.